It's all going to shit. Immediately.
All right, this looks good. This feels good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And are any of these on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that camera is filming, and that camera is also filming.
And that one, and that one, and that one.
Oh,
I don't know that film. It's recording.
are you guys gonna make this at least like artsy or
Well,
artistic?
I figure you're already almost shoeless. So I might get in my sock feet.
I didn't know like how high
And then we
up.
could call this episode Flip Flops and Socks.
I shaved my face for this. I trimmed. I mean, I trimmed also things that are completely irrelevant to this, but that's a thing that happened. Just in case you wanted to know if you were special.
I'm working with the Louis C.K. crotch right now. If that,
So there's currently lawsuits filed against your crotch.
maybe,
Okay, that's
maybe,
fair.
probably for copyright infringement on Louis C.K.
TM. This episode sponsored by Cherry Dr. Pepper.
I'm gonna tell you what, Dr. Pepper is probably my favorite substance on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
You know, they came out with that cream soda.
Oh my God.
Dr. Pepper.
That is so good.
I'm telling you, if it was any better to jerk off with, I would do it, but I tried it and it's not.
So do you guys have like preset questions and stuff, or?
I have a couple.
Oh.
I have a couple that you know. Usually I'll dive into something and it'll open up. What in the hell is that? What have you got? What is this? Okay.
That's my phone.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That's my work phone. It's my wallet.
Yeah. How do you
so
like
I keep
that?
I keep it with me to remind me that this thing allows me to have anything in this thing, so it works well. And then this is my personal phone. It's like the Galaxy Z Fold.
Yeah, you like the folding screen?
Oh my! It's
And shit's awesome, huh?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to like hold while you're doing other things, but other than that, it's great. If you have two hands readily available, it is awesome.
I usually only have one hand readily available.
Yeah.
And that is because I'm usually holding something.
Yeah, you're getting
that,
you're getting what I'm putting out here.
yeah. That's cool that it flips. So it's got that screen on the other side that.
Yeah, so it has
Then-
this thing because, like, I mean, whatever. I'm like on the job. I told my boss that like I'm not accessible, but I can't tell every single carrier I'm currently working with that like, hey, I'm busy right now. So they just call me anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just have this. I can silence it, which I have already for the duration of this film.
Yeah.
And then I open it up if I like have like
Duration
real.
of this film. Okay. So carriers that you're working with.
Yeah. I work. I am director of logistics for a shipping company.
Yeah.
And it's remote work, which people make you think is a great thing, but all it means is wherever you are,
Yeah.
you're at work.
working. You're always
yeah,
working.
No,
yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
People are like, so when do you get out of work? And I'm like, when coughing? I don't know.
when coughing.
Yeah, when coughing.
Yeah, that's a great. I don't know. That's a great. What did that? It would be a verb. Yeah. When
Yeah,
coughing,
sure.
Yeah. Go from a noun to a verb. I don't know. I had somebody use an adjective, a noun adjective on me the other day. They said I looked haircut, and yeah, I didn't. I was like, okay, yeah.
When they were there.
You smell. I don't know. I don't even know what you would go with there.
Yeah, you smell mayonnaise.
Yeah. Yeah. You smell. Yeah. Thank you. The most racist comment I've heard all day.
I have to say, I'm accustomed to your footwear game being far more lavish and colorful, and it's just one single color.
You know, sometimes things are just black and white.
Yeah, I hear you.
And and that's how I'm feeling today. Sometimes they're just black and white and denim. Things are just denim. Yeah, since we're yeah.
That's what we just we can make that new thing where we just like call people like you're very denim
Yeah.
today.
You seem hello right off the bat.
Yeah, you're very denim. You're very blue and durable.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
good for you.
Yeah. What if it's black denim though?
I mean,
I saw khaki denim the other day. I didn't like it.
I
I just didn't like reading it.
feel like khaki is the one thing where it's just like it's one word that describes multiple things.
I mean, it should just describe a color.
Yeah.
But in that setting, it was everything. It was.
I think it also means like uniform, conformist, retail. When you say khaki.
Yeah, yeah. Your new movement is very khaki. Thanks.
This could catch on if we just can like, in the world of just like being as succinct as possible, we just call people by like singular nouns.
I'm not sure that we're allowed to say succinct anymore.
Okay.
Is that a? I'm not even sure.
I haven't updated my list of offensive terms. I just recently tried to eliminate moist from my vocabulary.
Just now.
Yeah.
That's the original, off limits word. Not the original one. That we all know it's not going to take the place of the N word. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But there is a set demographic of people who become very disturbed when they hear the M word.
Yeah, and those people are called bitches. Nobody like that. No, nobody like that. When everybody was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how else do you like your cake? That's my. And if you don't like cake, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
So and if you like dry cake, bitch. That's a bitch move.
There are a lot of people actually who don't like birthday cakes. They want birthday pies.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Those are all the people who also have issues with pineapple being
Those
on pizza.
people are flaky.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Yeah, this is
I
quick.
figured you would appreciate that.
I do.
Man. I mean, as a guy that writes jokes.
Yeah, I do write jokes.
Which is one of the things that I love about you, man. I mean, not only do you write jokes, but you write a fucking ton of them.
Yeah, I recently have been starting to put each one of my jokes on a card and like build up all these decks of cards.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is just a rough estimate, but I have actually written 2,400 jokes.
That is disgusting.
2,400 jokes that I have done in front of an audience that people have laughed at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You it's one of the things that I noticed about you right off the bat in your comedy style, because it's one that we don't have a whole lot of that here in New Orleans. Is just joke writers.
Yeah.
Set up punch. You're real quick with those, and they're smart. It's amazing that you can. Most people aren't as complex for as simple as a setup punch is.
Yeah.
But you're I think that just shines through your intelligence in general. You're definitely one of the most interesting cats on the New Orleans scene.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not me just buttering you up, because if I was going to do that, I would use butter.
I'm just saying, based on the studio itself, I figured some kind of lubrication was going to be taking place.
Well, yeah, the studio is the lubrication.
Yeah, okay. That's
how moist do you feel right now?
So for people at home or however they're consuming this visually or auditorily, I usually have a digital notebook, or I have a laptop. And comics who don't know me, it's an open mic. There's a random people. They love to say, "Oh, like guy who's doing his taxes in the back."
Yeah, I've had people have often asked me what the feds are doing in the back.
Yeah.
Because it definitely looks like a scene out of Minority Report or some shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm being rude. All I'm doing is I'm just transposing all this data. So it's not like it's taking a ton of my attention. I'm listening to every comic. I laugh hysterically when the content warrants it. I make myself accessible. I put my laptop sort of at an angle to where I'm still approachable for anybody who feels like they want to walk up to somebody who looks as intimidating as I do. But my line of thinking is, I'm at these mics. I want to get there early. I'm not going to do like some comics where I leave right after I go up. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I don't really like that. Unless your house is on fire, in which case, definitely my joke doesn't mean nearly as much as your photo albums. But if I'm there for a few hours, I want to be able to transpose these ideas.
Yeah.
And my jokes, all of them they're all plants, and they all deserve a little bit of water. Whether or not they grow from that is one thing or the other. Yeah. But I feel like as I have these ideas, giving them the 20 to 30 seconds it takes to type it and then
Yeah.
the 20 to 30 seconds it takes to say it and see if it has legs.
Yeah.
And if at that point it does, then I bridge, I build.
Yeah. It blooms and they give you your flowers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Hmm.
So not unaccessible as Christopher Anthony.
Correct. Yes.
That's great. So you do several other things on top of comedy. It's more of a hobby for you than a living for sure.
You would swear that I, just based on like the diligence level and the sense of like obligation I have, like if I show up to a mic and I'm not even booked, but I show up to a mic and I'm a little bit late, you would swear if you were inside my head or like my heartbeat, you'd be like, this guy is going to lose his job. But for me, it's like if you don't have that level of dedication to it, or at least that level of respect for these venues, because especially here in New Orleans, they could be having anything else. And like comedy, when you live in a music-oriented city,
Yeah.
it's really low on the totem pole of priority.
It definitely
So
is.
out of gratitude alone for these venues, I get there as early as I can. I sign up fairly early, but I make sure to wait and to be supportive to the other comics because I know it can become very deflating if you watch one comic go up, they don't do that great of a job, and a bunch of people leave as a result. It's nice to at least see a familiar face.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, I have a ton of things going on, but I still treat comedy like it's extremely important.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I think that a lot of my friends are artists and they got into art and they ended up spending a bunch of money on art schools because everyone told them, hey, you have this amazing gift. You should spend a bunch of money and then get a piece of paper that says you have this amazing gift. But what ends up happening is it becomes work.
Yeah.
This thing that they had this affinity for and this gift for became a labor, not a labor of love, but like I got to do this to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And I watched joy just escape from their being over time. And so what's happened is inadvertently I've made a decent amount of money from comedy, but I think the reason why I'm able to do it in a way that people genuinely enjoy and want to invite me on shows to do, the reason why I can convey that is because I'm enjoying the process. And so I'm getting work as a result of comedy, but I'm getting that work because I don't continue to have this unhealthy relationship with comedy where it's just work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's a great analysis of that situation for sure. You were, I know, at one point working on, and I hope that you still are, Beacon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about Beacon.
Wow. Okay. Cool. I thought this was going to be like riffing on societal stuff. So, unfortunately, I mean, for people who are listening or watching this, I'm sure, the ideal situation is that you are, laughing and giggling throughout. So, except for the next 30 seconds, I have lost a lot of people, and I think that we all have. I've lost a lot of people to suicide and to drug overdose, and I have watched people leave while their physical bodies were still there. And so, yes, people who no longer exist at all, and other people who are sort of just like lost to the ether. And I have found, even pre-COVID, that so many people were so stunted when it came to being able to initiate a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worsened exponentially as a result of COVID.
Definitely.
Whether you are justifiably concerned health-wise or you just love this ultimate free scapegoat of, well, I don't want to get sick. And the idea of Beacon, so in its origin, the word itself is to show a sense of light. In other words, safe passage. So we are all these ships. We are all these individual ships, some of us carrying more than others, but we're out in these oceans. And sometimes it's beautiful and the sun is upon us and the waves are nice and clear. And other times it's tumultuous. It seems like we're going to sink.
Yeah.
The skies are dark. And so the idea of Beacon is for each one of these ships to know that there is this light, there's this source of safe passage. It's the ultimate sense of approachability.
Yeah.
Now, from a joke standpoint, I tell people all the time that I had to make something for people with resting bitch face like me. Like I am as unapproachable
Yeah.
and as intimidating as can possibly be. And I'm not even that tall. I'm not like that built, but I have seen the ramifications.
You look like a guy who, if you weren't wearing this, would be wearing a karate gi.
Yeah.
I mean, like straight up. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So,
Especially with
Yeah.
the Karate Kid making a big comeback now.
Yeah.
So I created Beacon out of necessity. You know, they say that some of the greatest ideas are built or born from necessity. And so I could see the writing on the wall before COVID ever came around, because the people who are dying from these drug overdoses, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. So a lot of the things that people are doing, whether it's drinking themselves into oblivion or doing a bunch of drugs, prescribed or otherwise, they're doing that because they feel isolated. And so now they're participating in activities that make them feel more isolated, and there's shame. So now they're talking to less people, when the real cure isn't necessarily stop doing these substances. The idea is to create a connection that's much stronger than you have with these inanimate destructive objects. Develop a relationship with another human being or several human beings, so you feel more connected to this beautiful universe we all share. And so I created something that helped make people easier to spot, people that were inclined and open to conversation. I created cards that made it to where people could have something unconventional to start a conversation with, because what we do by default is what I call reading each other's driver's licenses. So we meet someone like, okay, cool. Like, where are you from? How old are you? Any brothers or sisters? What do you do for a living? Blah, 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 blah. Like all the crap, like the preface of the book that nobody cares about. It's like, what if you could skip into like the meat of the book, like chapter 3, chapter 4. So I came up with questions, you know, speaking of the book analogy, like
get under the surface.
Exactly. So one of the popular questions is, if the book of your life was 600 pages, what page do you think you're on today? And so you can't answer that really quickly. And all of the questions I've created are the kind of questions that don't have answers readily available.
Yeah.
If I ask you where you're from, there is a specific answer to that. If I ask what you do based on the time, there is a specific answer. But every question I've written, it depends. I got to let me check the stock market. But the questions that I have formed, we are both finding out what the answer to that question is in real time.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, even if you don't get to know the other person better, you're definitely getting to know you better.
Yeah.
Which makes you more likely, statistically, to find people who are compatible with you, because you're getting a better idea of who you are, where you are, and what you're looking for.
And things like that are the reason that you are going to be. This is a projection there, though. Is I want to do a podcast out of my van called a ride called Quest.
I love it, especially because he has a Nissan Quest.
That's exactly right.
That's amazing.
That and I love hip hop.
You could get sponsored by Nissan for real.
I would hope to get sponsored by Q-Tip.
Okay.
Not the brand. The rapper.
Can you hear me? If you can't hear this podcast,
take the Q-tips out of your ears and get on with this. But that'll be that's off in the future. But ever since I've thought of it, you've been the guy, you've been the front seat rider on that one. So we'll go on and do an introduction here. Welcome to Under the Influencers. I'm your host, Brandon Bruffett. I'm here today with one of the most uniquely influential guys that I know on the New Orleans scene, Christopher Anthony.
Hi.
Yeah.
Should I look at you or you? You're looking over there.
You can just look at me.
This one right here?
You can just look at me. I'm more seductive than any of these cameras, but not near as seductive as you are right now. I mean, this man's got the legs out. He's got the feet out. He's got the brains out.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I like this.
How you doing today, man?
Overall, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
And one of my dearest friends is moving away shortly, but I unfortunately have been conditioned because, as is the case with New Orleans, either people were born here and raised here, and they're never going to be your friend because they didn't go to school with you, or they came here from somewhere else, and they're going to be your friend until they leave. or you leave. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, just until
Yeah.
then, though, huh?
Yeah, either your friends are married or they're in an open relationship that could end at any point.
Yeah.
Gotta love New Orleans.
You don't. I mean, if none of that turns you on, the crime rate has to do something for you.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know what I'm saying? It's like at least it's exciting.
Yeah, Brandon Haynes said, recently we were doing a set together, and he said, man, if you want to lose weight, you got to leave New Orleans. And I'm like, I've lost 17 pounds since I moved here 8 years ago because I'm either running to something like my belongings
Yeah.
or running from something like someone who wants to take my belongings.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I don't have the most operable AC. I heard some houses have central air. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not that rich.
Yeah.
So every summer I just lose 3 pounds whether I want to or not.
Yeah, just sweat it into
So,
the couch. Huh?
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you, man. I hear you. So yeah, the crime's out of control here, man. I actually almost caught bullets twice within like a week and a half, just like a month ago.
I thought you guys broke up like longer ago.
Yeah, no. Thank
Oh.
God. I mean, she definitely had been working on her aim, but didn't have any artillery in the house. So, yeah, thank God for that.
No, I mean it's a rough city, and I have heard numerous horror stories. Thankfully, I so far have had only 6 bikes stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I love when people are like, what kind of lock did you have on it? And I was just like, the kind of lock that says, this isn't yours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I understand when it's just like when girls are, like, oh my, I can't believe he hit me. And then you have the really crappy people who are like, well, what did you say? It's just like, well, I didn't say, please hit me. Anyway, so yeah. So speaking of women, I like my bikes like I like my women now.
Stolen?
No. So ugly, no one wants to take them. I can leave them outside a convenience store, just standing, leaning against a pole.
So if Christopher Anthony comes hitting on you, no, you a ugly motherfucker.
Yeah.
Don't take it as a compliment.
I can leave them leaning against the pole, go inside, grab whatever, come out. 15 minutes later, she's right where I left her.
You better be really good in bed.
Well, I mean, the ugly ones usually are.
Or chained to pole.
Yeah.
Holy God. Just as ugly as they can
I'm
be.
not a misogynist.
I always thought a misogynist and a massage therapist were the same thing.
Oh my God, me too, right?
It's like one of them is rubbing you the right way and one of them is rubbing you the wrong way. They're
How can the word massage be in something that's offensive? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, man.
It has a connotation of like relaxation.
I don't understand why the word hysterectomy has his in the beginning of it.
Yeah,
Hysterectomy.
for sure.
I only got one.
Do you guys have like that little boom? No,
No.
Okay.
Boom, no
fine.
drum roll.
It's
Yeah.
fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we
later.
need it. We need something. I need a interface of just buttons like wah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get like a little Bluetooth speaker because that way I could just on the phone they have this app where it's like boom boom
Yeah.
and just do that. There was one mic I think that they left the drum kit set up and somebody just kept doing that in the background at like Gaza like
Nice.
a year or something ago.
Nice.
They just kept doing like once they saw the symbol they were like forget what the set it was I was gonna do. I'm just gonna do like quick jokes and then boom boom.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They were doing it themselves.
yes.
Nice. You ever do any comedy with a musical backup?
Okay, so yes, but so in South Florida, there were a bunch of places that were like eclectic open mics,
Mm-hmm.
meaning if you feel like you can make people laugh while also being accompanied by the jazzy sounds of these people
Yeah.
that are here, because what happened was what had happened was my
What-
apologies.
yeah.
Yes.
Get it right.
It's an hour and a half, and each band gets 30 minutes. So I feel bad. These guys lug all this stuff out. They're so excited to play. And what they're supposed to do is like basically intro and outro. But that's not enough, you
Yeah.
know? The 35 seconds between whatever act.
Yeah.
So you'd have poets. Poets loved it, right?
Mhm.
Then you had musicians. They were just vocalists. So they were like, hey, if you know this song, no problem. Let's do it. And then I was just like, whatever. I'm going to be that comedian that's like brave enough. Because it's like, it said all arts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then all arts. And I'm telling jokes and cracking up. And I figure I won because the guys couldn't play because they were too busy giggling anyway. So
Yeah.
it's just like, all right, cool. And then
Yeah.
a bunch of people afterwards gave me daps, and I just felt like I just won some kind of like unspoken contest. So it was good.
The unspoken contest
Yeah.
against spoken word.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's easy to win against a lot of spoken word, anyways. But yeah, no, man, that playing with a band is a cool thing. I've only gotten to do it once.
Yeah.
And
Before you
interesting-
did comedy?
No, no, no,
Oh.
no. I was doing comedy. It was at Cafe Istanbul.
Yeah.
You know, which is the same kind of the open mic is very much the same kind of setup. It's all arts, but mostly poets.
Yep. Wednesday nights, right?
It used to be on
Mondays.
It used to be on Mondays,
Pre-COVID,
and that was when I caught.
Yeah.
That was when I caught it, and man, it was crazy because I was just like walking to the store, and remember I lived right behind it.
Yep.
And it was, I mean, God, I didn't even go up until like 2:30 in the morning or something.
It is one of the old school speakeasy style places where
Yeah.
it's like you know about this through word of mouth, or you stalked somebody.
Yeah.
You found, hey, why there's a group of like 4 people who look like they just came from San Francisco and wearing like long, colorful scarves, walking around at
Yeah.
1:30 in the morning
Yeah.
comfortably.
Oh, it was
Like,
crazy.
where
There
are they
was a-
going?
there
All
was
right,
a-
I'll follow them.
I walked by and there was this dude outside, and he looked like he looked like a bodyguard.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey man, you got any ones?" Oh shit. Maybe at the house. Let me go see.
Yeah.
So I go to the house, and like I say, it's 50
You
steps.
made it evident that you lived nearby.
Well, I didn't tell him where I lived,
Okay.
but nearby, yeah. So I get to the house, I come back, and I'm like, man, I got 30 of them.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I already got it taken care of.
Okay.
What the fuck y'all doing in there? Y'all got some strippers in there or something? He was
Yeah.
like, nah, man, nah. We're doing music. And I still didn't realize it was an open mic.
You're the most
Yeah.
honorable and ethical person. I can't imagine being like, hey, are you looking for money? Hold on. Let me go back to my house.
No.
But you stand right here and I'll be right back.
The dude was wanting to buy some. He was like, I want to buy some ones.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew there was a bar in there. It was
Yeah.
like I didn't know, it's not like I didn't know what that there was a establishment in there. But
The
yeah.
resale value on ones is not great, though.
It's just it's $1.
Yeah.
I mean, you get it's a better rate if you're buying food stamps.
Yeah, but when you're selling it to the United States, I mean, you can get it like $1 for 15 cents. It's pretty incredible. That's an economy joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's we're the only country where our dollar is worth less than it actually stands for.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Then it's actually worth.
Also, why other countries, the more valuable the bill is, the larger it is. So, like, blind people don't have as much of an issue dealing with their money elsewhere. But in America, it's all the same size. It's
Yeah.
all the same color.
It's all the same weight.
Yeah. Whoa.
All the bills are the same. They weigh
Yeah.
the same. Yeah.
But when we were coins, like an ounce was $1. A 50-cent coin was half an ounce. So it was
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Made
And
out
you
of different metals then too, though.
Yep, silver until
Yeah.
1964.
Yeah.
We've moved into a whole different podcast at this point. Anybody
yeah.
still awake? You guys still awake?
Yeah. All of our money's made of tinfoil and hope.
Yeah. Pretty short. And hope's on sale.
Yeah, and it's not worth very much, even then.
How do you guys keep track of time? I feel like with the conversation style that you guys have, this could just, this is like YouTube. This is like you go on YouTube for a 3-minute video your friend tells you about.
yeah.
And then you wake up out of this hypnotic gaze 4
Yeah.
days later and you're like, I just shat myself and
Yeah.
I'm unemployed.
we are made for YouTube. Like this is yeah. I mean, it's perfect.
No,
We're just kind of feeling it, man.
I haven't looked at my watch. I don't even know what time. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Is it still Wednesday?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
It's whatever day you want it to be, man. Here, words mean nothing. Time is just an essence.
Who are we to identify this particular day's title?
Well, that's
right?
what we're here to find out. Who are you?
Yeah.
Who am I? Even if you don't learn anything about any of us, hopefully you will learn something about yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool.
That's us. So how long have you been doing comedy?
Man. So I have been doing comedy
Long enough to write over 2,000 jokes.
2,400.
Yeah.
So I have been doing comedy for 11 years.
Okay.
I've been good at it for like 13.
The always humble
Yeah.
Christopher Anthony.
No, I tell you what, look, there was a comic about a week ago, and it was his first time up, and he was really scared. And I asked him, I said, follow your fears, don't face them. So, like, what are you afraid of? What's going to happen? Long story short, I said, look, right now, your greatest critic and your most loyal audience member are the same person.
Mm-hmm.
It's you,
Yeah.
right? So if you are not the most supportive person in the audience, then who else are you worried about? And so I have to be my own cheerleader. Now I'm fairly humble. Like a lot of times I let my content and my performances speak for themselves. I'm not one to boast like at all. But at the same time, I have to continue being supportive because we know comics inherently are like extremely self-destructive and self-deprecating. I have seen comics leave a stage that the audience was full of uproarious laughter, and they looked like it wasn't good enough for them.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that I'm enjoying it. I have to make sure that I'm continuing to support myself, and I have to, well, not financially, but I have to make sure that I'm constantly, inflating, or as, what do they call it? What's the new term now? We're like blowing up people's heads.
Uplifting.
Gas them up.
No,
I keep confusing gaslighting with gassing them up.
Yeah, well, and you would think, but see, that's another one of those confusing terms.
Yeah.
It's like people say shit is lit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, lit comes from gaslit.
Yeah.
Or greenlit. I'm sorry, not gaslit. Comes from greenlit.
Yeah.
Which means kill on sight.
Yeah. But then greenlit also means that, like, hey, we got the funding and we got the support to make this happen.
Well, yes, that's in the entertainment industry,
Man.
but not in the streets.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
I know. That's why I don't talk to women.
No, so that's my comedy lately has been talking about like word choice and how like recently I said I like to fuck little girls,
Yeah.
but I was supposed to say I like to fuck like petite girls.
Yeah.
Because I didn't say I like to fuck young girls, right? So I'm like, oh, I like to fuck little girls. I'm like 5'7" on a good day. Of course I like to fuck little girls. Like,
Yeah.
why? I don't want like
the tiniest.
I don't want like logistically. How am I going to have sex with a woman who's like 6'4"?
I only watch A&E because it's.
I don't even have a map. I mean, seriously. Or like for instance, like when I first was here in New Orleans. That's great. Enjoy the climb.
Yeah.
So even something is like ridiculous, and this is a joke too, but it's also like real life. It happened. I say that I'm the one who said it, but I was the one who heard it. So I lived in Tremay when I first lived here, and I saw one of my neighbors at a coffee shop, and they warned me. They said, "Don't go back to the building because they're shooting right now, and the police have it blocked off."
Yeah.
They meant filming.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be real specific in New
They were
Orleans.
filming a movie, which is exciting, but they said they're shooting right now and the police have it blocked off, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
So it's like, word choice. I mean, all jokes aside, be careful.
Yeah.
Keep
Like,
a thesaurus
you know,
with you at all times.
And I often say that like New Orleans is every day is a chance to be an extra in an action movie scene, and most people think that I'm talking about because there's always shooting going on. Yes, yes, that's right.
How dare you add on to my joke and make it a whole other joke?
Hey,
that's
man,
incredible.
Yeah, and we could do those back to back, and they would never even know that they were.
Yeah, man. Dude, you. Pickle, Jorge, I will continue to see you guys as like my comedy family. A lot of comedians will be like, "Oh, we're all family," and then like they're talking crap about you on social media afterward.
Yeah, I got a lot of family that I don't like.
like we hopped in a van, like quite literally, because you were like, "I gotta go, we're gonna be late."
Yeah.
We hopped in a van when the rest of the world could not remember the last time they left their house, and we went to Texas, and we went to Alabama, and we went to Mississippi.
Yeah.
And we just told jokes to as many registered Republican voters as possible.
As many COVID carriers as we could possibly brave to be around. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't know that I've ever had a chance to thoroughly thank you for all of that, but like that kind of saved my sanity. And without the mind, the body goes. And so it's great that like all of you guys are like making moves now.
Well, we're trying, man.
Because the New Orleans scene pre-COVID was run by like 6 people who majored in journalism in high school.
Yeah.
And we're like, I know the guy who has this venue. I have it booked for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
And I don't like you. And now it's just like, you guys basically took this palette that was covered with a bunch of old paint and just like fresh new palette,
drip fucking different color paint all over it.
fresh new palette with like all kinds of stuff going on. And you guys are creating like a heightened level of exposure for some of these venues that honestly they're great, they're huge, and the people who own them and run them are so supportive. But until you guys showed up at their front door and said, "Hey, I can bring humor here," you guys just bring people to laugh.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing that all this is happening.
Man, we just I tell you, and thank you for that
Yeah.
that acknowledgement, man. It you know really the getting out of the house during the COVID thing, man. Pickle really he come to me one day with an idea, like just go to a talent search.
Yeah.
Like that was the first thing that we did, and man, after getting that in our blood, like it was like who's doing what.
Thank God that him and his
Yeah.
girlfriend at the time weren't getting along well, because he's like,
Yeah.
I need to leave the house,
Yeah,
but I also
Yeah, I'm glad
how
that didn't
far
work
can
out.
we get?
I'm
I don't
really-
want to. I don't want to do comedy here.
Yeah.
Can we go to Texas?
Yeah.
Can we go to Mississippi?
Yeah.
I just need to get so far that I cannot hear her
Yeah.
yell.
Yeah. I'm glad that didn't work out. I
Yeah.
mean, sorry, Pickle, but when I say congratulations on a breakup, he's part of what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that this new one lives so far away.
Yeah.
That you know, I
Rather
mean,
break up than break down. You know what I mean?
quite honestly, man. I mean,
That's a bumper sticker on
it's
his
like,
car now.
Yeah.
I'd
You
rather
know?
break up than break down.
Yeah, it's right beside some old bird crap that fell on it. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's great. It's yeah, nah, love Pickle, man. He really did. He I don't know, almost forced us to get on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's getting bigger now. You know, like
Yeah, nah,
not like
man,
on the
I keep
scene, I
telling
just
him,
mean, like,
watch
physically,
what you're
yeah,
eating,
yeah.
watch what you're eating. You know, don't let the distance fucking like get you all worked up about like we're still here. You know, we're here to lift you up, but you're making it physically impossible.
You know, honestly, so this is true, because I'm the king of backhanded compliments.
Yeah.
Whenever I see someone who's gained a lot of weight, I say, "Wow, you must have found someone who really truly loves and accepts you recently."
Yeah,
Because seriously, most of the time they found somebody and like they're not in the dating scene anymore.
somebody who doesn't
and,
care.
Yep, and that person's like, "I love you for you."
Yeah, and now there's just more of you.
Yeah, now there's more of you to love. So seriously,
Whatever,
like
man.
when someone gains weight, I do say that. I'm like, "Hey, have you found someone?"
Yeah,
You know?
I congratulate them on their newfound enthusiasm for food.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it could have been anything, and you chose food. It could have been Play-Doh.
Yeah.
You don't want to see your friends eating that.
I mean, they make edible Play-Doh now.
They better, because kids are retarded. And they will eat any fucking thing.
Are we allowed to say that?
I am, because I am partially. So
Oh, okay, cool.
yes, I am partially one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What? Y'all hadn't seen my feet.
What?
They haven't seen my feet. I've got a well, let's say not retarded foot, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's kind of retarded.
You know what I find really ironic
No,
is, okay, thank you.
do tell.
The people who are supposedly the greatest advocates for free speech
Mm-hmm.
are almost always the same people telling you all the things you can't say.
Yeah, I don't know that you can say that.
Is that too deep for
I don't know
spoken
that-
word now?
Hold on,
Seriously, though,
you
do you
might
notice
not
that?
Be allowed.
Yeah. You can't say that there's things you can't say.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't say that
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's almost every word that I put out, I'm questioning it. Like, can I say that?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, who am I taking the chance to offend there? And then I just end up not caring.
So I say this a lot. I say there's no such thing as an offensive statement.
Yeah,
There's only easily offended people,
that's
because
yeah,
it's
could be
all a
true.
choice. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
one phrase I could say to 10 different people.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them might be highly offended by it for their own weird, skewed reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Another few might be offended by it for something actually justifiable.
Yeah.
And the rest of the people are like, and next, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, And what's
So
weird is,
why is that, the
and
case?
so with this increased level of sensitivity, and it's like it's found its way into the usual safe haven of comedy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I mean, we're going to be one of a million podcasts talking about how comedy isn't what it used to be
Yeah, for sure.
as far as the freedom.
Yeah.
But the analogy I usually give is, do you want to be a strong person? Well, yes. When you go to the gym, you don't carry less weight. You
Mm.
carry more weight because
Mhm.
you want to be stronger.
Yeah.
So surrounding yourself only with people who agree with everything you say is like going to the gym and taking more and more weight off the bar.
Yeah.
You're not going to get better at being sociable. You're not going to get stronger as a person by making all of the things that bother you as far from you as possible. You have to just learn to trudge through.
Yeah.
But
Trudge through. That's for
yeah,
sure. That's for sure. And yeah, the sensitivity. I mean, the sensitivity is greatly increased. It's like, I mean, we were talking about moist earlier, just the word
Yeah.
moist, and it's like, how in that? Why are so many people offended by that word? It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense because, for one, Dr. Pepper is moist.
it very.
It moistens your mouth. You don't want your mouth to not be moist.
It's the only doctor I trust my tooth decay.
We have lozenges that prevent dry mouth,
It's true.
obviously making your mouth more moist. We have
No, but-
lotion.
Yeah,
for-
but like seriously, like
for-
legit, like I don't. It's weird. That, like that's, and then there's
like,
other
why that
countries,
word?
and then like the C word, right? Like I don't even want to bother saying it. We all know what it is. 4 letters anyway.
okay.
But like in other,
Cunt.
yeah, okay, there you go.
Yes.
In other countries, like that has become as minimally offensive as like how we say bitch. Like bitch, you can get by on TV saying fairly often. So in the
Yeah.
UK and other countries, like the C word is super commonplace, whereas other words that we use, they're like, no, you don't say that.
Yeah.
And it's just odd that like every one of these things, it's all choices. However offensive a word might be, is you choosing to give that word strength and life.
Mm-hmm.
And so if for me, like I grew up where my friends for sport would tease me. As a matter of fact, when people are hanging out with me, you know how long I've known someone by how comfortable they feel teasing me. This is true. So when my friends are in town, either from New York, North Carolina, or Florida, and my new friends that I've made here see me with them, like I, again, am pretty intimidating. So new people would never say anything insulting to me. Seriously, this is not to boast.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel comfortable saying anything mean to
Yeah.
me. But my other friends, they're like, wow, you must know him really well because, you just insulted his hair, his age, his height, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
All
we're-
3 of those very, very accessible targets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, of course, we're friends.
Yeah.
And so I feel, I mean, honestly, people don't understand to what extent this is going to have an adverse effect on their ability to actually build a bond with anyone.
Yeah.
Because like that's one of my jokes recently is it's like you guys see all these old people, right? And you see old people talking to themselves, and like we're young and we can't figure that out. Like, oh, not all of them are senile, but like you see old people talking to themselves, and I'm like, yeah, well, here's a warning. Every old person you see talking to themselves is somebody who the second somebody said something they didn't agree with, stop talking to them. So the only person they have left to talk to that agrees
Yeah.
with everything they say
Yeah.
is them. You know? So
absolutely.
if you can't help your grandma and grandpa, at least get them like a little Bluetooth headset so it looks like they're on the phone, even if they're not.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to light up. Just
Yeah.
put it on.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. I don't know where, there's today there is also more aversion to relationships,
Yeah.
especially monogamous relationships, and when I think about the unwillingness of people to engage in conflict. It's like the second there's some kind of disagreement, they want to shut down,
Yep.
and not engage in that conflict. They don't want to build that bridge and get over it to where the really good shit actually is.
You don't get
Yeah.
better at anything by doing it less.
Yeah, and that's any relationship. I mean, romantic, platonic, or whatever. I mean, I don't feel like you've really got that good of a bond until you have some kind of conflict that you've worked through.
So
Yeah.
statistically, they've done plenty and plenty of studies, right? And so the couples now that are married successfully, we're talking 20, 30, 40 years, what they have found is the younger they were when they started the relationship, the longer the relationship lasts. And so, sure, you as an adult might have the inclination to tell a 15, 16-year-old they have no idea what love is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could just as easily tell somebody who's 40 and single that they don't understand what compromise is. And so when you're younger, you sort of meander through this world together, and you form a bond based on those experiences. But when you get older, you're like, I've been so accustomed to telling each and every, potential candidate, I'm not going to change this, I'm not going to do this. Well, as a result, like, your inability to compromise and to sacrifice is the reason why you've had to compromise and sacrifice having a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
And now you know.
that's great insight from all directions. So you are also on top of Beacon and comedy. You are one of the top ranked public speakers in the country.
So here's the quick way that happened. I'll tell you the short end of it. I moved from New York to Florida, and I had a hardcore New York accent. At the same time, I still had baby speech, like, and people think it's cute. By the way, don't support that, because it's cute when they're one. It's not cute when they're, like, trying to go to school, okay?
Yeah.
So I had a lisp, and I had a hardcore New York accent, and I had baby speech. And as a result, I was bullied a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily pro-bully, but I am pro-results as a desire to avoid being bullied.
There's a lot to be gained by at least some schoolyard bullying and teasing. I don't.
I
feel
see
that we
bullying as like a mallet to, like, harden steel. Sure, it cuts at first, but it makes you sharper and makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting involved in a ton of different things, a bunch of open mics because my friends at the time were hosting them, and I came out to support. And then I wanted to start, because everybody tells me, well, you should speak for a living. And I was just like, okay, thanks, but do you know anyone?
Yeah, who's paying to talk?
So I started putting in speaking competitions or world championship of public speaking, because I'm a fairly competitive person. And through that, I found this organization, Toastmasters. And so for basically $60 every 6 months, you can just find, like, a local place. Basically, as easy as it is to find, like, an AA or an NA meeting, you can find a Toastmasters meeting, except Toastmasters charges you. But they both equally will applaud you after saying your name and the struggles you have.
Yeah.
So I got involved in Toastmasters, and my level of comfort that I was coming in with and the level of content that I already had to present, I moved up pretty quickly throughout all of that. And before I knew it, my club was asking me to represent them, my area, then the division, and then the district, and then the region. And it goes on longer than, like, the Final Four does. So through that, I like the competitive aspect of it. I like that when you won at this level, then the audience was 60. Then you won that, the audience was like 140. You win that, the audience is 400.
So it just graduates on all levels.
Yeah, because at that point in time, your first competition, you're getting the people local in that city. Your next one, you're getting people in all the neighboring cities. The next one's the state. Then the next one's like a fourth of the country that's hearing you speak. And you get at least 5 minutes. You get, like, no more than 7 minutes and a half. So it teaches you how to work within those time constraints. And honestly, as long as either what you're presenting is humorous or somewhat inspirational, they don't tell you what you have to present. Obviously, you can't be vulgar. You have to be considerate. You don't want to be divisive. So you don't want to come through and be like, gun laws, let's talk about them.
Yeah.
But you can talk about the impact that it has had on you. And it's been a really amazing opportunity for me, because a vast majority of the people who go there, they're really in there for their own, like, ulterior goals. In other words, like, I'm a salesperson. I need to get more comfortable giving presentations.
Right.
Or I'm a college student and I need this to get through my debate class.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in and out. They're, like, looking for something specific. But for me, I'm talking amongst people who are, like, in suits and ties, the kind of people who don't show up to the things that we do because they're already like getting ready for bed. I don't get that expression.
Yeah.
I just go to bed. Anyway,
I just pass out on the couch.
There's just a 90-minute ritual I have to do before I can touch the mattress, So yeah, and from that, I mean, I have won, like, I am the most decorated member in Toastmasters history. I've won, I think, like 17 state and division titles because I've represented Louisiana, Texas, and Florida and
Which
California.
is a hard fucking thing to do
Yeah.
in a good light.
Yeah. So
Like-
I make a joke too. You know, people say all the time that public speaking's like the number one fear.
Yeah.
You'd rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. That is
Yeah.
valid. And now, post COVID, the number one fear is just public.
Yeah.
Like people.
Yeah.
Oh, talking to them too? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I just got to the point where I could like be around other individuals.
Yeah. I worry about a lot of the kids, coming up through COVID and
Oh,
how their
man.
reaction to people is going to be. Because I remember like coming up on parents that were like walking their kids and just being like, their reaction being, oh no, people.
Yeah.
And turning, just like
Some
how
of these
does that-
people would have their kids in strollers, and you would have to just assume that there's a kid in there.
Yeah.
Because it was like the whole thing was covered like an armadillo.
Yeah. One big mask.
Right? And they're like, but I'm taking my kid outside,
Yeah.
to see what's
Yeah.
going on in the world, but don't look at anything. Just look at mommy.
Yeah.
Just look at mommy.
Don't peer through the veil.
Yeah. And it's
crazy.
And so these kids end up with like no social skills whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, the ramifications of that are almost endless. Then they don't apply for the job, or they don't get the job that they're actually qualified for because they don't present well. They don't get the person that they definitely deserve to be with and are compatible with because they don't have the courage to approach them, or like
Yeah.
they have these people who call them a bitch or a slut online and they don't call them out in person because they're terrified for
Yeah.
like no real, justifiable reason.
Yeah.
And so, fear it's incredible. And I say all the time, fear is like a lock with no key. The best thing to do is just remove the lock entirely
Yeah.
rather than trying to find a key that doesn't exist.
Yeah. I hear that. That's a good analogy.
Thanks.
And it's such a weird time to be avoiding people when, as individuals and as an entire group of people that we're going through so many changes. I mean, we're going to come out of this with people never being exposed to people who are going through transition,
Yeah.
and that will be completely odd to them. It'll be a brand new exposure, almost like coming across a species that is yet unidentified.
Yeah.
And that I find that troublesome. So, what a weird ending.
Is that the end? Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we got to be wrapping up.
Okay.
I could sit here and talk to you forever.
I am thoroughly enjoying like just the ambiance and the tone.
Yeah.
This is great. I think all
Yeah.
conversations should take place with microphones and headphones.
Largely agree, and even mute
Yeah.
buttons in some instances. But yeah, we've got. Well, I mean, we're gonna do another hour with a couple of friends
Cool.
coming
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
Awesome.
Christopher Anthony, thank you for being on Under the Influencers.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I will
absolutely.
come back anytime you want. This is so nice.
Next week.
Now that I know for sure that this building isn't just for filming porn,
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable getting here. Thank
yeah,
you.
we do execution scenes.
Okay.
We do. We do all that.
Tell us where the files are.
We'll birth a relationship and end one right here.
Sweet.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right. We'll see you next time on Under the Influencers. Plug anything. We didn't promote it. We'll do that on